Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now in this video we are going to be going forward with our portfolio project. So purpose of this tutorial is to actually walk you through the wireframe part of the whole portfolio creation, from the ideation, content, and to the high fidelity design. Let's get started, and in today's video I will begin with the homepage wireframe design. If you haven't watched the first part of this series where I went over on what kind of a content we will have on each of the 3 pages, such as the home, case study page, and about page, please click the info title card above here on this video. Make sure you watch that first. But if you already understand what kind of a content you would like to have on your portfolio so that you can actually get those interviews faster or change your job as a UI UX designer, that's fine. You can just watch this wireframe tutorial, but I would highly advise on watching the first part of the series. I am using a wireframe library that is actually a public library from Figma, and I put it in a separate page and I named it Wireframe Library. And the library, if you want to use a library as well, what you can do is go to your browser and type Figma wireframe. And I clicked on the first link here, Figma wireframe kits, and I clicked on this get this template for free CTA button there, and then it opened and I copied it, and this is all the things I'm using. Alright, so let's get started with the homepage desktop version for the wireframe, and I'm just gonna give you a quick look of what we are gonna design. I'm gonna press Shift 2 and zoom in a bit. So our hero section begins by basically explaining who we are, and again in the research phase what I said about what kind of branding we will do was friendly, a bit quirky and casual. So bear in mind the goals that we have in terms of the feel of the UI, which is why I actually named the avatar or the imaginary person who is gonna be the designer of this portfolio as Helga Hufflepuff. And you know, if your last name is a Hufflepuff from Harry Potter, it's very hard for you to be serious or going for elegant. I think it's a very cute name. I think I did a very good job. And then we have her name. She explains what her job title is, where she lives, and then we have her background, how much experience she has. And this black is the image. Might be an animation, we can later on decide on the high fidelity, or it might just be a profile shot. And these are the company logos that she worked with. And then we have 3 of her projects. And again, the whole purpose of the home page is about telling the reader, the user, what we do and why. Meaning what we do as a UI UX designer or product designer, and why we stand out from the rest of the other designers. And we can show this by our content, which is by saying 3 years of experience or social proof, and also by showing the in-depth of our project, so the person, in this case the hiring manager, can understand our mindset, how our design process works, etc. But especially for homepage, it is good to establish the expertise and kind of also give a flair about your personality. So that's why for establishing the expertise, we are also going to be showing our projects, and then we will have a footer, which is very simple. And let's get going. I'm gonna press F for shortcut for frame, and I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna make this 1440 for desktop size, and I'm gonna give this a height of 4000 pixels. And let's make this homepage design desktop copy. So what I'm going to do now is to actually begin with the navigation, and to do that I'm gonna go to my wireframe library. I'm just gonna pick the second option here, Command C for copying shortcut, and Command V, and I'm gonna make it to 0 for Y, so it starts at the top. And I'm gonna make sure that this is top constraint, so if we are scaling above, it's gonna follow it up. That's pretty good. And we are gonna name this Helga Hufflepuff. And before I go any further, I am actually gonna detach the instance. I don't want it to be a component because we are gonna make changes to it. And I'm gonna make this contact, and I'm gonna delete some of the links here. Oops, maybe that can stay. Home, about, and let's say resume. And that is pretty good. Now we can move on to the hero section. Because at the wireframe stage, we are not picking typography or images yet, which is why our images are black and type is just going to be robot or open sans. But what we put in content matters. So what I'm going to do is I am going to press T and I'm just going to copy the text there, press T again and just paste it there. And I'm going to have it around here. And before we go any further, just for alignment purposes, I am going to add a auto layout. Sorry, I'm going to add a layout grid. And I don't want it to be a grid, I want this to be a column. What a layout grid in the column version will do is to help me basically align things vertically much better. And I'm going to make this 12 because that's the most common amount of columns you have when you are designing websites. And I want the initial margin left and right to be 96, gutters to be 24. And that's pretty good. And now we can see that while this text, my name is Helga, is aligned well on the columns, the title is not. Neither the links here. So what I'm gonna do is I can adjust the left and the right margin of the top navigation by adding an auto layout. And also, if you do not understand what I am talking about when it comes to auto layout, please feel free to click on that card above. That tutorial is an in-depth guide on how to use auto layout so you can make much more responsive or adaptive designs when it comes to working with Figma. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna first make these four things a frame, and I'm gonna name this links. And is it a background? Definitely remove the background. And I'm just gonna have the frame, parent frame, have a color. That's fine. And then what we can do is we are gonna have an auto layout here. And it's gonna be centered. And I want 96 on the left, 96 on the right. And what we want is definitely something space in between that will be filled, and we want 1440, and boom, and that's fantastic. That looks great. So I'm gonna continue and I am gonna add the text as well. And let's get this text to be maybe 20. And I'm gonna eyeball these, so I'm eyeballing these right now. I'm not gonna copy directly. Copy and paste directly, just so you can see how I would work it. To be maybe 20. And I'm gonna eyeball these, so I'm eyeballing these right now. I'm not gonna copy directly. Copy and paste directly, just so you can see how I would work it. And then what I can do is I am definitely gonna align these two too. And then what I can do is I am gonna get my rectangle, gonna copy, this will serve as an image. Push it here, and I think I want this to be roughly 500. Let's see, maybe I want it to end before the white gutters there. I think that's pretty good. And I want this to be around here. And I want this to be around here too. And maybe around 30 looks okay. Yeah, I think I like this. Maybe around here, yeah. That is pretty good. And maybe top alignment works better. And maybe we can increase the size a bit. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think this looks pretty good. I want this to be here, yeah. I think so far for a wireframe that is good enough. And then what we want is I'm just gonna drag it so we keep the consistency. The reason I'm just dragging from the text we already created is the main goal for us when we are doing the wireframe is to give a semblance of the structure. But we are also prepping ourselves for the high fidelity design in terms of the sizing of the particular text, but also its role. And it's very important that you keep things consistent and start out from the same place, so that if you need difference when the purpose of a UI element is different than another one, such as when you have a header element and then you have a paragraph, you can tell yourself, okay, I need to make a contrast here. Whereas if you just put different texts on the document, you already have different things, and chances are your thought process when you were creating a contrast was inexistent, because you are just doing it as it goes rather than planning for it. And dragging and copying and starting with the same elements gets you at a basically an environment where you can think to yourself, now it's good to create a contrast here, right? For example, in here, I'm just gonna make this companies I love working with, and I know this is not a paragraph quite, it's much more like a subheader. So what I can do to create contrast is I'm gonna make it all uppercase and bold it out, and boom, that works. And I'm gonna go back here, gonna pick this small rectangle. Perfect. And I'm gonna paste that small rectangle here. And I'm gonna name this as company logo. And I think I am gonna have 3 of these. Maybe 24 pixels, and boom. Yes, that works. Alright, so let's go on with the projects part of the home page. I'm gonna zoom in with Shift 0, and I'm gonna turn off the alignments with I'm gonna turn off the layout grid with Ctrl G. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna press F to create a frame. And inside this frame, I'm gonna put an image. And that's good. And I'm gonna name this project desktop. Project desktop card. And that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna press Ctrl G again to open it, and I'm gonna make my alignments here for the frame in terms of its sizing. That's pretty good. I want this to take the whole, maybe 720. And I want this to be 720. And I want this to be started at 0, 0. That's good. Maybe even less. Maybe now we can actually change the width a bit. And around here. Nope, 720 it is. Perfect. And that's roughly 96. I want this to start at 96. And I want this 1248. Maybe 50% of 1248, that is like 600. 624 is the width. So maybe hold command to resize without changing the parent. 624. And that works. And I'm gonna then press copy this, put it here, name project name, gonna put it here, gonna go and auto width, and I'm gonna drag this into here as well. A mobile app project that connects programming mentors all over the world with kids between age 5-17. In the first week of launch, we got 800 users. Awesome. So this is gonna be left alignment, that is correct. Gonna put that here, and that's fine. And one thing we have is on the right top side of the content area is the device type of the project. So this is mobile, the second one is mobile, and third one is, let's make this web, shall we? And that is also important, so I'm gonna add that too. So I'm gonna press basically F again for a frame. I'm gonna give this a fill, maybe make it a bit gray, and gonna put it here, and maybe give it some radius, and that's fine. Ctrl G just for me to see it. I think we need a bit more gray. Yep, let's start with this. We are gonna have a text here, and I'm gonna say web, and I definitely want this to be around 15, and I want this to be like this, auto width, centered, that's fine. And what I'm looking for here is now, okay, I am looking at how the things are looking. Are these grouped yet? So this is content, text, and I am gonna basically make this look a bit better. So and maybe here is 0. Nope, I wanted the opposite of this. 0, 8. Yes, that is how it should look, and that looks pretty good. That should also be 8, and now it looks pretty good. And yeah, I think that's pretty okay. What I want is project card to have its own color, and that's fine. And now what I want is maybe a kind of a frame that encapsulates this. So this is the project section, and I want that to be a bit wider, encompassing everything, basically 1440, 0, and I want it to have basically 9696 above. So roughly it would be roughly 720, 920, 912, yes. And this would be going 96 here. I'm basically trying to get the 96 parts right. That's correct. And boom. And that looks pretty good. And I want this, the whole general parent frame, to have a color of a bit of gray. And that's perfect. And I want this rectangle to have the same color as well. And maybe the color here can be black. And that's pretty good. And now I'm gonna drag this out. And the second one, I don't want it to have actually a color. That's good. And the third one, I do want it to have background color again, and that's good. And let's make the first one web, the second one, let's say mobile, and third one is again web. And that's pretty good. I think we are only missing the footer, and that we will do in the next video. So to do that, I'm gonna go to the Wireframe library, and I'm gonna look at some of the pre-designed wireframes here. I don't like that one. Maybe which one do we want? Footer, I think I like this one, yes. Let's copy that, go to wireframe page, and just paste and move it here. And that's perfect. If I'm going to detach it from the main component, I'm going to write here Helga Hufflepuff. And basically we will have a left and a right alignment. And to remember our alignments, I want to press Ctrl G to open the auto grid. And I'm like, okay, so first of all, let's get rid of all these texts. We have very few pages. This is a enterprise footer, not for a personal portfolio. So many links. We don't need as much. Let's say links, home, about, resume. And we want these to have an alignment as well. And in order to do that, I'm gonna make these three go into frame left content, and I'm gonna do the same for here. Frame this with Command Option G, and I'm gonna write right content. And I believe my casting doesn't work, so let's start here. Okay, now it works. Sorry for that. So sorry for that, guys. And now I'm gonna add auto layout so that we will have a very good alignment, and I want these to be centered. I want them to have 96 left, 96 right, and again space between so that we can pick the width of the element, and boom, that's perfect. We probably want to make sure the constraint is for bottom. What this means is now that it is for the bottom, if this frame stretches below, meaning we increase its height, the footer will follow it, and that's what we want. And that's awesome. Alright, so let's begin the mobile design. So I'm gonna press F for creating a frame shortcut. Gonna pick iPhone 13 mini. I'm gonna move it here and I'm gonna name it home page mobile copy. And gonna give it a height of, let's say, 4000. And that's a bit long, maybe 3200. That's better. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to basically gonna copy this long header right here, and I'm gonna basically get it to 18, and then I'm gonna import our menu icon by pressing command / feather icons, and I'm gonna go for menu. And if you guys do not know much of the libraries that I use for icons, make sure to click on the title above. That will give you access to a video I did for Figma plugins that I believe will improve your productivity. And in there I actually give you the plugins I have, like this one, that actually makes my design process much faster. So what I want to do now is I want to add a layout grid, same as we did like the desktop, but this one will be 5 columns, 24 margins, 16 pixels each one, and then I'm gonna select both of these. Oh, the menu is outside. We gotta basically put the menu in, so grab here, put it in, grab 2 of those elements, Option Command G to frame them, top navigation. And then what I'm going to add is I'm going to add an auto layout. I'm going to center these, and I am going to give them 24, 24, and I will do space between, and what I want to do is 375, and I want this to start at 0. And yes, that is perfect. Alright, so then what I will do is, and this should start at the top, and maybe more, right? Maybe 12. 12? Yes, that's better. A bit of top padding there. And then I am going to copy this header from the desktop, and I'm probably gonna get it 28. I'm gonna get it smaller. So let's see, this is pretty good. That's a good height, and then I'm gonna copy it here, and I'm gonna paste it. Okay, that paragraph height is a lot, maybe 16, 24, around here is good, maybe a bit more height. Yep, and around here is the best, I think. Maybe 26. I'm not gonna go exact, but yeah, I think this one might look the best. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And then I'm gonna add an image here for the profile shot. That's too much. We are gonna get it to be 325. We wanted to take the entire screen without the margins, so maybe 24. So 327. Yeah, that's the best. And then we are gonna have the company logos. So I'm just gonna copy and paste these, and I will center design them here. So maybe, yeah, this one is pretty good. No, maybe, yeah, that's pretty good. Top is 21, maybe 20, and then we can grab the others and then Command D. That's good. and then we will do the projects. So for the projects, I am gonna press F again, and I am gonna name this project section mobile, and I am gonna give this a color of right here, and that's pretty good. Gonna enlarge it a bit, and inside here there will be another frame, and this will be named project, and this will basically have some text, project name, and it will also be, and I'm gonna do Control C to copy the text property, project name, that's pretty good. And I am gonna get this content right here and paste it, and I'm gonna do the same. This is a paragraph. To copy its properties like font size and the line height, I'm gonna press Command Option C, and to paste it I'm gonna do Command Option V, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We want this, and then what I'm going to do here is I am gonna press F again, and I am gonna fill this with white, and I'm gonna give this 12 pixel radius, and I'm gonna press T for text and name mobile. And for some reason this is uppercase. I think we have some consistency issues, but that's fine so far. Maybe 15, and maybe top, maybe even 14. We can go up a bit. Yep, that works. Maybe 13, yes. And I want a middle dot here to signal that we have a secondary element, and we can do that with the Command Option 9, nope. Command Shift 9, nope. Control Option 9, no. What's the shortcut for that dot? I don't remember, so I'm just gonna copy it and paste it. But it's a good practice to remember these things. So now what I'm gonna name this is the category, and I'm gonna basically center this, yes. And then I'm gonna grab these two, and maybe move this up a bit around here, yes. And then for the project I want these to be in here, so the project is also inside here, category is also inside here. All right, so what do we have here? So maybe 0, yep, and a bit lower. Project name is also going to be at 0, yep. And project name is going to take almost like this much, but we can basically find how much it takes. We are going to add the auto layout here, and we are going to have 24 at each side, and that's how we are going to do it. And we are going to definitely get this to be around, let's think, auto layout here as well. Nope, no auto layout. I'm gonna get this to be here. And why is this not the full width? I am thinking spacing between elements is 0, space between 376, yes, that's correct. And now it looks pretty good. And now we can also add here the image. So I'm gonna just go over here, pick an image, put it in the project down at the bottom, and just grab it here. One moment, guys. Okay, so why did we make a mistake? So we have the project section. It's the auto layout is like that, so it's horizontal direction. It can be vertical, yes, It can be vertical, space between, okay. So 376, yes. Okay, so that works. We only need an image here, so why don't we just grab a small image like this, paste it here. Oh, it's because it's not left aligned, no. Yeah, okay, so that works. 27. Okay, and let's do this. Okay, and let's just grow this. Okay, that doesn't work, but fine. We'll just grow, make this go here. So we will just do 0. And yeah, that works fine. And this should be also 327. And that's fine. And we will get you up as well. Yes. Okay. And that is maybe 8. Okay, now let's check. That looks pretty okay. The only problem is the height here, so it should be 24. So maybe around here is the best. Yeah. Okay. Now that was messy, that I wasn't prepared for it to be that messy, but it happens. So I'm just gonna look, and that looks okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I am gonna just drag it down, and I am gonna hide it, and this time I am gonna change the category color to be a bit more gray. Yep, and then I'm gonna Ctrl G for it to be out. Do the same again, but this time open it, and that's good. And then I am gonna do the footer design. Just gonna get this, paste it here, gonna go below, and one thing we can do is we are gonna do here, and maybe 24, and we definitely want to do this here and a bit higher. Around here is good. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna make things maybe 24, 24, 24, 24. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. That's 85. So this is the full footer scale. Okay. That's right side. Let me think. That's left side. I think we just want to delete these elements. And yes, and let's check 24, 24. Why is this not showing? It should only be 24. So why is this having such a long margin? No, we want to be packed, and we want to be like maybe 36 top, 36 bottom, and we want to get it around here, and I think maybe 48 top. That would be better. Yeah, and that looks better. So then what we can do is we need to cut the distance a bit. Let's go with 3000, see how it looks. That's a bit too much, 3048, and that looks pretty good. Okay, and because it's a wireframe, you don't need to make it pixel perfect, and that's pretty good. And that's the homepage design, guys. Now this is the first part of the wireframing for our homepage. We did the desktop and the mobile, and the next video we are going to do the same process but for the about page, and then we will do the case study page, and then we will move on to the high fidelity. If you like this video and you would like to learn more about Figma and how to design better projects to improve your UI UX design career, please feel free to subscribe by clicking on that button below so you will get a notification when I launch a new video. Now, before you go any further, I actually added 2 videos to the end of this video that I believe will help make you a better UI UX designer on Figma. Please watch either of them if you haven't already. I believe they will improve your design skills a lot.